Hi everyone, Diane here, welcome to my studio. Today we're going to paint a cockerel or a rooster, and there's a reason for that, and I'll tell you about that while I'm doing it. Piece of Meeden watercolor paper here, about which you all already know. This is the 10x7, and I've drawn on here, I've sketched out the shape of a rooster. This will be available for you to download if you aren't confident with your drawing. They're not easy to draw really, and anyway, so you can download that for free, or you can pay for it if you like from the website dianeantone.com. I'll put a link in the description below. We're going to use obviously a limited palette today, because we always do, and I'm going to sit down for reasons which are obvious. I'm going to use for his tail, I am going to use neutral tint, which is this color here. Neutral tint. This one is by Old Holland. I'm just going to put some of it into my round palette there. It's here. And what that looks like is this. It's a nice soft grey, actually. It's a mixture of red, blue and yellow. So it doesn't, it's not dead black. You could also use Payne's grey, or you could use black, or you could use blue. Phthalo blue is nice for the tail feathers, but I just thought I would use neutral tint today because we talked about it the other day. And yes, so I thought we would have a go at seeing how that works. So I'm trying to put this somewhere where you can see it. I'm also going to use burnt sienna, which is this colour, and some red mixture of these two. This is alizarin crimson, this is more of a permanent rose, and maybe a bit of blue, and I'm going to put some flowers around it. And I've drawn it, and it's come a little bit too far down the bottom of the page, so I might shorten him a little bit before we start. Yes, I think I probably will. I'm going to take his foot off and make his body a little less lengthy. Don't know quite why I did that, because I started off with the foot, and cockerels have quite big feet, don't they? And so then they have these spurs and things, and we'll just slim him down a little bit. Bring him down like that. He's a young one, okay? He's quite a young cockerel, this one. Yeah, so the story about the cockerel, I think I mentioned before that we have a neighbour who has absolutely no concern for animal welfare whatsoever, and he had a pig and 3 hens and a cockerel in a filthy environment. And anyway, so gradually I have taken over the responsibility for looking after these animals, and the last one to come and live with us is the cockerel, the rooster, and he arrived yesterday. He actually walked up to me and asked me to pick him up and take him out of this hellhole. So I took him and put him in one of our barns with one of our cats. So now they're living happily together, and I'm a bit more comfortable now. Excuse me. You have no idea what it's like living in a place like this. So let's pick up some permanent rose and some cadmium red. Not cadmium red, sorry, alizarin crimson, and a bit of quinacridone gold to make an orangey red. And with that, I'm going, excuse me, I don't know what's the matter with my throat this morning. With that, I'm going to paint loosely the comb on the cockerel's head, rooster. I'll drop a little bit more red in at the bottom and let that blend a bit. And we'll also paint his wattle, which is this bit there. Then I'll go back a bit to the orange, slightly more orangey colour. And do his face like that. And then we'll just let that blend a bit, and then we'll come back a bit later to put his eye in and so on. And so now I'm picking up some burnt sienna, and thinking I don't want to touch that. So the way I'm going to try and do this, I'm going to leave some unpainted space there. And I just want to do flicky bits, mostly. So we'll come down here. Doesn't matter if it runs a bit, but best if it doesn't run too much. And let's add some water and lighten that up a little bit. You can use any brown for any colours, actually. You can go mad and do this in all sorts of fantasy colours if you like. This is the undercoat, you could say. So now I'm going to put in some neutral tint down here, and I'm hoping that it's going to work for this part of the bird. And just use flicky as you can to give it sort of a flickiness. You might be able to hear one of the cockerels outside. And let's just keep this really light here. Just do little flicky bits like this. And then I'm going to go back to the burnt sienna and do flicky bits here. And maybe mix a bit of, that's the beauty of the neutral tint, is the idea that you can mix it with something like burnt sienna to give you a darker colour without it spoiling the purity of the colour. There we are. So we're around there. We're going to come back in with a bit more on there when it's a little bit drier, and I'm just going to switch. Oh, I was using Princeton Aqua Elite brush, quite nice brushes. And then let's mix a little bit of blue, perhaps, in with the neutral tint. And then this is always the fun bit. We're going to just literally flick like that. Probably not a totally bad idea to try it out somewhere else first before you do your first effort. I have painted this bird before, not this specific bird, but in this style. Okay, so flicky tail there. Then I'm going to pick up some quinacridone gold and pink for his leg. And we'll go in there with that. Okay. Okay, so we're going to let him... It sounds to me like one of the cockerels is in the garden just beside me here. He's got more to say today than I have. Okay, so I'm going to come back down here with the black or the neutral tint and darken this up a little bit. And perhaps I'll switch to the slightly smaller brush here. We want lots of contrast and lights and darks. So when you come in with the second layer, you want to make sure that you don't paint over the lights, just the darks. So we'll take this up here a bit as well, make that contrast, keep that contrast. And then maybe a bit of brown, a bit more here. And maybe a bit more black, neutral tint there. And then the dark brown we're going to put here as well, in front of his wattle. And then a bit of quinacridone gold, perhaps, around here. Not sure if that's going to really be golden enough, but it'll have to do. And then I'm going to paint some nice big flowers. So let's just, oops, let's wash my brush out properly. That doesn't look very good, does it? Let's find some more yellow of some sort. I'm running out of quinacridone gold, so I'm probably going to have to switch to something different. Let's find some, oh well, I'll tell you what, the rosa one will probably do. Not keen on the rosa paints because, well, I only have one, so I can't say, but the one I do have is quite opaque. But that doesn't matter for this because we're just going to pop in some flowers. Some nice loose flowers in different shades. Just give them 5 petals like that. Maybe a bit of pink. Add a bit of blue, make it a bit lilac-y. And then when you've got a few in of different sizes, different colours, then you can start to put the leaves in. Yeah, we'll just go for some green here. This is what is it? It's hookers green. You could use sap green. Let it run. This is wet in wet. Painting wet in wet. That means putting wet paint into wet paint so that it runs. You have to have faith. You have to have a little bit of faith. It's a bit more wet in wet. We put a little bit of black in the middle of some of the flowers, or where we think the centres might be. That will run. We'll come back and do a bit more later. But we want that to run. And then let's just grab a smaller brush, a bit more green, knock the green back with a bit of brown. So a few more leaves around here. And right, so I'm going to let that sort of dry. And meanwhile, oh, be quiet. Let's paint his beak. And I'm going to do his eye with a pen, I think, because it's a little bit tricky to do it with a brush. So I'm going to dry this off with a dryer and then come in and do the details. Okay, he's dry now, so let's draw his eye in and his beak. Don't want to do too much. Yeah, I don't want to do too much. So that'll do. And then a bit more red. On his wattle. No, comb. Bit of shadow in the middle. Try not to paint over the lights. Darken the bottom of his beak a little bit, perhaps. Maybe give him a bit more, a few more feathers there, perhaps. Maybe a bit more texture here. And then let's just put the second layer of colour in the flowers. So where there's pink, put more pink. Where there's orange, put more orange. Where there's yellow, put more yellow. And then perhaps a little bit more green. Could add a bit of yellow to that green to make it a little bit more, a little bit less bluish, a bit more greenish. But we just, keep it loose. And maybe in the centres, we'll go for a bit more of the neutral tint. Make the centres a little bit more dominant. Well, not dominant, but a little bit more noticeable. Make this line a bit more irregular, his chest, and then you could have a bit more blackish there, maybe a bit here. Okay, so you could come in and do some line work on this if you wanted to. do think perhaps a little bit more shape here. Okay, so there we are, one rooster painted in honor of our new rooster, whose name is Remy. We could put a bit of sky up there if you wanted to. Nothing to stop you from coming in with a little bit of blue and just popping in a little bit of something up here to indicate that he's in the world. So there we are. So that's today's painting, and I'll leave you with that. And don't forget to go over to dianeantone.com if you want to download the sketch, which is what I'm going to do right now. Paint the sketch, draw the sketch, and upload it for you, so it's there for you when the video goes up later today. So thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, turn on notifications and all of that, and consider joining us on Patreon or on the YouTube membership. So I'll let you go, everybody, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now, everyone. Bye-bye.